We are back with the Always Another Game podcast in 2025. I hope you have all had a fantastic break, and that is going to be our key topic today. But I just want to let you know we are starting off with a Shaun short episode today where we go inside my mind to hear stories about my sporting career and how that resonates in life away from the game, in parenting, business, personal development. But we do have a number of incredible guests lined up back for our interview episodes, ready to share their knowledge to help you take action on areas that you're already good in and taking those to areas that you're working on so that you can improve those as well, because skills in life are transferable. And as you can see from the title of our episode today, we are talking about breaks. Are breaks always positive, always good in sport? Now, we have all just come back off a break, the Christmas break, whether that be a long one for some people or whether that just be short, intermittent ones because of work. We've all had some form of break. Now, there's a lot of people at this time of year that will be hitting the ground running. And there'll be a lot of people at the same time who have lost their flow. So is a break always good? Now, if we're looking at this in sporting terms, often we find there's two different styles of breaks. There's a planned break and there's an unplanned break. A planned break would be Christmas breaks in sports, summer breaks, international breaks, where everybody knows where those are coming. They're in the calendar. We all know there is going to be a period of time where training isn't the same, there isn't any games, etc., etc. And then we have the unplanned break, which is often then injury or illness, things like that we didn't know were coming, but we have to adapt to very quickly. And you see an awful lot in sport where teams are either or playing incredibly well, or somebody or an athlete like a tennis player by himself or her by herself are playing incredibly well, and then on a break and they come back and they get beat, even though they hadn't been beat for a little bit of while. You see teams who are in terrible form go into a break, come back, win a game, and things turn around. So they're not always a positive for the individual, for the person, because it can be a case of confidence and form and flow versus class. They often say class is permanent, form is temporary, class is permanent. And I will go over at the end the key reason why you would succeed after coming from a break. There is a common denominator here. But if I go over a few memories from my time where a break has been a perfect opportunity to reset, whether I knew it or not. One was a team one and one was an individual one. The team one we had, we were going through a financial crisis in our team, and players weren't getting paid, and we had no idea if we were going to have a team or not. And the league had given us the weekend off, a special dispensation. You can cancel your games today. We will repay them. We will not punish you. But if you do not have a new owner by next weekend, we will have to take heavier action against you. Now, luckily enough, within that time, we did find an owner. But obviously, before they had come in, there was a lot of controversy, a lot of people using not getting paid as an excuse. I think we may have had a player or two leave. I can't quite remember it on that one, but it wasn't great. We weren't playing well. We weren't doing well. But that incident actually brought us together stronger. A lot of players had offers in that weekend off. I had an offer in that weekend off to move to another team, and most of the players chose to come back. There was just a togetherness that we knew something. We needed to do something. We needed to be there for the team and support the fans and everyone that had been there for us. And when we came back, we actually went on one heck of a winning streak. Because of that togetherness, it brought something out in our play. Through adversity, we grew, and we ended up winning a cup that year. We didn't win any more than the cup, but we won a cup. Which is there's only 3 up for grabs in the league at the time, and we got one of them through our consistent playing and our togetherness through maybe a team that shouldn't have necessarily been there. So in that incident, when things were against us, having the break turned out to be a huge positive. And you'll see a theme of things here in a second. But the second one was myself, where I took my first. I only ever really got seriously injured once in my ice hockey careers. That may shock some of you that know what it takes to play the sport. But it was only one big time, multiple little injuries, but one big one. And something inside me at that point was, I've got to get back on the ice, and I've got to get back on the ice as quick as possible. Now, injuries often come with a lot of frustration. A lot of people see it as a negative. I can't do this. I can't train. I can't be at my best. For some reason at this point, and I think because I'd gone down this personal development route at this point in my playing career, that I knew I needed to get back on the ice quick. I didn't know what that would take. I didn't know how I was going to go about it, but I needed to recover as quick as I could. And big shout out to Go Perform in Reading, who are a fantastic rehab facility. Initially, they advised me that I'd be out for 3 to 5 months with the type of injury that I'd got, and I wouldn't be at full recovery until over a year, just with the type of injury it was. They actually got me back on the ice with no repercussions in 10 weeks. Now, yes, they helped me, but my mindset at that time was, okay, what do I need to do? Tell me what I need to do to get back on that ice as quick and as strong and as fit as possible. And what I learned in that time was fascinating, because I came back fitter and stronger than I'd ever been, because I was being pushed by people in the know, in the right way, safely, that I wasn't going to get re-injured. I was strengthening back up my ankle whilst improving my VO2 max and my upper body strength and upper body power. And I was still actually able to train my legs, even though I had an ankle injury. There were certain movements that I was able to do that wasn't going to have a negative effect, which I found fascinating also. So that unplanned break, I took it in a way. It was frustrating. It was. I wanted to be playing. I was watching my team at the time. Both myself and another, one of the top players in the team at the time, were both out, and we were losing more than we were winning. It was a very hard watch, but that actually drove me to continue to work to get back quicker as possible. So breaks are incredibly important. We need them. We are in a world that is 100 miles per hour. It's hustle, it's grind. It's, if you don't, you'll never make it. And I get it. There is 100%. You got to work. You've got to grind. You've got to work. But without rest, there is an endpoint, and that endpoint could be injury, could be illness, could be bigger, could be disease. There could be a lot more to pushing too hard and not listening to your body, because a break is a great time to reset. Yet when they're planned, like in sport, that can have a detrimental effect, especially if you are performing well. If you're not performing well, it's a great reset. It's probably much needed, and it can lead you to coming back. You see it all the time. You know, teams this season, for example, when this podcast out, Man City in the Premier League have been known to be struggling quite a bit. And breaks have been, their biggest asset, and they will continue to be until they find form, because class is permanent. They have fantastic players, fantastic coach, fantastic systems. They're not going to stay down forever. But whereas you look at teams that maybe have been form, people may know I'm a Newcastle fan, and over the past few years, there's been points where the team's been playing really well. An international break comes, they come back, and they've had a loss, or they've started to struggle again because they've lost their flow. And the one common denominator that will help those sport teams, that will help you as an athlete, that will help you as an individual find your feet back in work, find your feet back in the gym, find your feet back in your health and well-being right now. And the break often isn't the problem. The issue is your mindset. Now, that could be your mindset around going into the break, because you're going in burnt out. So you're not actually fully recovering the way you'd like to recover in your break. Or it could be that you've taken your foot off the pedal. Because remember, if it's a planned break and you don't actually need it, the question would remain then, do I need to take my foot off the pedal? Or should I have kept momentum going so that when we came back, we weren't on the back foot thinking everything's great? Okay, it's a very loose example, but I'm coaching my boys' football team. It's under sevens, love it, love seeing them develop. We could see the difference from, I think they had a good month break just from knowing the basics before the break to play in their first game of the second part of the season, you could see that they had lost their flow, their rhythm, and it's okay. They're young, they're learning, but even at that level, having a break without that focus in between, you can. The most simplest of things can go out the window until you get back into a few games and you find your flow again. But in professional sport or in business or in life, at a lot higher and older level, you might not have that time. It might be too late. You might get stuck in a rut and it goes even further down. So if you've had enough break and you feel good, brilliant. January, late January, early Feb is known as kind of a very big burnout point where people get too excited at the start of the new year with lots of energy. And it's great. It is. It's motivating. It's exciting. But if you haven't got an eye on what you're going to do with that break to slow down, to speed back up again, to continue this long term, because there's a 90% dropout rate by March of people who start a gym program, diet program in the new year, 90%. And again, that 10% will get even smaller as you go into kind of April, May, June and onwards. And a break and taking those times to be kind to yourself and stay mentally focused, but have a physical break or have a mental break because you are that fatigued, they are key for you staying on track long term. So what I'd love for you all to do today is just kind of ask yourself, how am I feeling? Am I feeling good? Great. How can I look at possible breaks, whether that's once a week or you're going away in a couple of weeks' time? You know, is that perfect opportunity to not think about your food and training and stuff for a little bit and want to get back into it? Is a great sign that you've had a good break. You want to get back into your veg. You want to get back into your training because you've had enough break and you've recovered. But have a think, because when you work on yourself and your personal development and your belief systems and your confidence, having a break is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Yet, when they are forced upon you, they can be a negative if you don't need them. And this is the hard part. People are unsure when to rest. Self-awareness systems need to be improved, and they can do it. It's a learned skill, self-awareness. I have learned that myself over the... You can work on all these things. It just takes time. It takes willing. It takes understanding. And then what happens is you start to see long-term success. You don't have to grind out every single day because you know the work you are currently doing is powerful enough to move you forward without going over the top. So I wanted to get this one done and dusted, out of the way. We've all had a break. It's all fresh in our minds to make sure that we stay on track long-term and stop pushing short-term goals like they're long-term goals, burning out, crashing, and starting over again. Nobody wants to start over again. Everybody wants to stay on track for the long haul, but we have to learn how to do it. So if you've taken anything away from today's episode, let me know. Love to see some reviews. Share this episode with somebody who may need to hear it. Any support is welcomed on the Always Another Game podcast, and it helps us bring in incredible guests that are coming in the upcoming week to help share their stories on the transfer of skills and how you can utilize those in life away from the game, in parenting, business, personal development. So thank you, everybody, for joining me on today's episode. It's been awesome getting back into it. Short and sweet on the Shaun Short episode, and I can't wait to get stuck in 2025. So have a great day, and remember, there is always another game.